Okay, have you ever experienced this phenomenon before? Start learning a new skill and things are going pretty great at first. You feel really confident and capable, almost like you were made for this. But then something crazy happens. You suddenly find yourself deep in the pit of despair, full of doubt and limiting beliefs, and you just don't think that you're cut out for this thing that you were just so confident about. Sound familiar? Well, I hate to break it to you, but you are not special. Nope, this is something that happens to most people when they're learning a new skill or a new trade. It is called the dunning-kruger effect, and I really wish that I knew about it 10 years ago when I first got started freelancing. In this video, we're gonna talk about this crazy phenomenon, what it is, why it happens, and most importantly, 3 tips for helping you move past it. Stay tuned. Hey Bossy, what's up? It's Alex coming at you this week with a fresh video to help all my fellow freelancers and entrepreneurs crush it in their businesses and live a life that feels oh so good to you. But first, if you're new to the crew, welcome. My channel is dedicated to teaching you everything you need to know about copywriting, marketing, and entrepreneurship, from how to get into creative flow to how to start and run your freelancing business, hot new digital marketing trends, and so much more. So if you are ready to master the world of marketing, then you know what to do. Be sure to subscribe below and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when my next video goes live. All right, so let's dive right into this video. So the dunning-kruger effect is something that I learned about relatively recently, and it really blew my mind. Most of us have probably heard of the term imposter syndrome, especially if you're brand new to freelancing, and I've talked about it right here on my channel. So imposter syndrome was first described like this by 2 psychologists in the 1970s. Imposter phenomenon occurs among high achievers who are unable to internalize and accept their success. They often attribute their accomplishments to luck rather than to ability and fear that others will eventually unmask them as a fraud. So essentially, imposter syndrome happens when smart and really capable people underestimate their own abilities. Ever happened to you? They feel like they're doing a terrible job, they don't deserve the recognition they're getting, and one day they will be exposed as a fraud, or like they don't know anything. Meanwhile, all their clients and peers and coworkers think they are amazing. And while this is definitely something that I think a lot of freelancers encounter during certain points in their career, the more common phenomenon is actually the total opposite of imposter syndrome when you are just very first getting started. Enter the dunning-kruger effect. So according to psychology, when you first learn a new skill, and I mean like really early on, your confidence will be at an all-time high. And this peak of confidence is called Mount Stupid. It's science. And plot twist, the sky-high confidence you're feeling is actually a false sense of confidence that's caused by your general lack of knowledge. It's kind of like you don't know what you don't know, so you overestimate your own skill level. But then as time goes on and you begin to accumulate more knowledge and you start honing your skills, you realize that you don't know as much as you thought you did, and that's when you fall into the valley of despair. I talk about this all the time with my students who take any of my programs. Usually around module 2 or 3 is when the valley of despair kicks in. They start the program super strong at the peak of Mount Stupid, and then the more they learn, the more they realize they actually don't know that much, and it can be really overwhelming, and that pit of despair can really hold you back. So this valley of despair is typically when all those doubts and fears and limiting beliefs really start to rear their ugly heads, and you may start to feel like a fraud or like you're not cut out to do what you're doing. But it really has nothing to do with feeling like an imposter, although that might come up during this valley of despair. It's just those uncomfy feelings when you realize, damn, this is harder than I thought it would be. You know, because the more you know, the more you realize you know nothing. And that is a fact of life. And so it's just something we have to get used to. And this is the hard truth about freelancing. You are going to feel challenged. It will feel hard. You're probably gonna feel like you're doing a terrible job at times. Hey, I still feel that way. And remember that learning a new skill is supposed to be challenging. And it is totally normal. So despite how you're feeling, it doesn't mean that you're failing or that you're stupid or that you're not cut out for this. There is nothing wrong with you. And when you really learn to realize that this is normal, it makes moving through it a lot easier, because you are just a normal person learning a new skill and experiencing that rise and fall of confidence that comes along with it. So the real question here is, how do you get out of the valley of despair? Maybe you are stuck in it right now. Well, as you might have already guessed, the only way out is through. You just gotta keep going, you gotta keep learning, you gotta keep trying, and you gotta keep pushing. And I promise you, it will feel less and less challenging as time goes on. But listen, I get that that is really unhelpful advice to just say keep going. What does that actually look like? So I'm going to share with you 3 practical ways that you can keep going all the way up the slope of enlightenment to the promised land, the plateau of sustainability. So the first thing you can do is ask for honest feedback. Hands down, the best way to grow and get better at your craft is to receive honest, constructive feedback on your work. And this can come in a few different ways. First of all, never underestimate the value of a mentor or a coach, someone who is skilled and experienced in what it is you're trying to do and can offer you unbiased feedback. Even if you only work with them for a few months, you'll be surprised at how much you can improve when you're actually being told exactly what's lacking, what needs improvement, and what's really great. Another way to approach this is to ask your clients for feedback on your work. Now, this one can be a little bit more tricky because not all clients will know how to spot the difference between great copy or bad copy or whatever type of work you're doing, and clients also tend to have biases and subjective opinions, but it is still worth asking. So once you complete a project, you can send an email to your client that says something like, hey, I'd love to stay in touch and hear how my copy performs for you. Let me know. So this really opens the door to having a conversation about your work, and whatever it is they say will include their personal thoughts about your work, maybe even metrics or feedback directly from their customers. And as a bonus, if the results and the feedback are actually good and positive, you can utilize this as a testimonial, and if not, you use it to get better and better. All right, on to the next tip. Join a community. So something else that should never be underestimated in the world of freelancing or really starting a business in any capacity is community. Today, most of us freelancers work solo, and unless we're part of a community, membership, or mastermind, we probably don't know or interact with very many people who are doing the same thing that we're doing. And not only can that feel really isolating, but it can also make it really hard to grow. Being in a community is so freaking valuable because you can share wins, you can get inspiration from one another, you can even critique each other's work, and something that my rainmakers do all the time is actually host pop-up workshops where they'll come together on Zoom and critique each other's copy and brainstorm solutions to a problem. Now, your next question might be, okay, Alex, but where do I find a community? Well, you are already here. The Posse has a ton of great community resources, including private membership groups that you get access to when you join any of my programs. Facebook also has hundreds of free groups that you can join right now, and get in there, be active, be present, start conversations with people, and go in with the expectation of nothing other than connection. All right, and number 3 is practice. You saw this one coming, right? As plain and simple as the advice may be, practicing is really the only and best way to continually improve your skills and grow your confidence. Remember this, okay? Courage comes first. You gotta put yourself out there, you gotta go do it. Then comes capability, getting better and better, and then comes confidence, not the other way around. So take on all the projects you feel comfortable doing, get experience, learn something from it, and then start that cycle all over again, and you will find your groove. And you can practice even if you don't have any clients or projects just yet. And one of my favorite ways to practice is by rewriting copy, ads, or headlines that I find online. You can do ads, emails, sales pages, really anything is up for grabs. If you read something and think, I think I could make that better, then try it, rewrite it, and make it better. Do it as often as you can, and I promise you will keep getting better and better. And if you have a peer group, mentor, or coach, of course, you can always ask them for feedback on your rewrite. Now, if you are currently riding in that low valley of despair phase, please keep going. Your confidence will grow with your competence over time, I promise. I am rooting for you. You absolutely got this. Until next time, I'm Alex. Ciao for now. All right, guys, if you enjoyed that video, make sure to check out the next one from me right here. And you can click right here to get a free gift. Did you know that there are actually 5 different types of imposter syndrome that could be sabotaging your success without you even knowing it? Today, I'm sharing my own personal experience with imposter syndrome and how I've continually pushed past it again and again and again to get to where I am today.